Hello, it's Sonia here with Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So today we are going to be doing a Tunisian crochet project. So as you can see, I'm not using a Tunisian crochet hook. I'm just using a regular straight crochet hook, which you can do with this project. And I'm using my I hook or 5.5mm hook. Now you could definitely use a different size hook if you would prefer. You could definitely use an H hook, or maybe even a J hook, or even a G hook. And the yarn I am using is cotton yarn. I'm using two different colors. So I have this white here, and I have this like multicolored blue cotton yarn. And I'm not sure of the brand. I believe this was Mill Ends, like I got years ago, and trying to find the right project for it. And then this possibly is Peaches and Cream. I don't know. It's on one of those cones and there's no label on it. So this is going to be a fun Tunisian project, I think. We're going to be doing some short rows with this, and we're making a hot pad. Okay, so to get started, we're going to incorporate some regular crochet and Tunisian crochet with this project. Okay, so to get started, I am chaining 2. And we're going to work 5 single crochet in the second chain from our hook. So here is the regular crochet we're doing. Okay, so I have my 5 regular single crochet, and now we are going to chain 20. So here is my 20 chains, and if you've never done Tunisian crochet before, I do have a playlist that goes over the basic stitches, and again, you do not have to buy a Tunisian crochet hook to get started. I mean, if you only have one, that definitely feel free to use it, but don't let not having the right tools. You can definitely do Tunisian crochet without a Tunisian hook, but don't let that stop you from learning. So we have our 20 chains here. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull up loops in the second chain from our hook, and we're going to work in the back bump. So I'm just working the basic Tunisian setup row of pulling up all of my loops on my hook, and I will have 20 loops on my hook. Okay, so I have my 20 loops. So what we're going to do is we're going to now connect to this circle here. So in that first single crochet, I'm inserting my hook, and I'm pulling up a loop. So now I have 21 loops on my hook. So we need to work these off, because with Tunisian crochet it's always in 2 parts. You have your forward pass and then your return pass. So what we're going to do is we're going to yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Usually you pull through 1 to start, but for this project we're pulling through 2 to start, and then we're going to continue to pull through 2 for the rest of the row. Okay, so there is row 1. That's all done. So this part with the 5 single crochet was kind of just a setup, and now we're going to be working in rows. So here's row 1. So now let's begin row 2. So for row 2, in our first bar right here, we're going to just work Tunisian simple and pull up a loop. And we're going to continue to work Tunisian simple stitch until we have 20 loops on our hook. As I said before, we're working short rows, but we're working short rows, and we're going to go around in a circle. I know it doesn't seem like that. We're doing it with rows. So I'm just going to keep pulling up my loops here, Okay, so I have 2 bars left. So this is bar 19 and this is bar 20. Now we're not going to go work in the 5 single crochet. We're just going to leave it with the 20. So for each row, you're going to have 1 less. So we started off with 21. Now we have 20 for row 2. So we're going to yarn over and we're going to pull through 2 and just continue to yarn over and pull through 2 for the rest of the row, and at the end of the row we're going to change to our second color. Okay, so I am at my last 2 loops. I want to change to my next color. Just laying that on my hook, pulling that through. I'm not going to cut my white. We're going to carry these colors and it works out really nicely with this project. Okay, so now we are on row 3. We're going to repeat row 2, but instead of having 20 loops on our hook, we're going to have 19. So as I said, we're going to work 1 less for each row. So still working Tunisian simple. We're doing this for the whole project here. Okay, so I'm almost at the end here. I have 17 loops on my hook. As I said, we're going to work until we have 1 less from before. So here is 18 and here is 19. So don't overthink it. It's not hard. We're just going back 1 stitch for each row. So the row 1 we had 21 loops on our hook. Row 2 we had 20. Row 3 now we have 19, and then we work these off like we normally do. So yarning over, pulling through those 2 loops, and just continuing to pull through 2 for the rest of the row. So I'm at the end of row 3. I'm going to yarn over, pull through the remaining 2. We're still working with our blue, so it's going to be 2 rows of the same color. So for row 4 here, we're going to pull up loops until we have 18 on our hook. Okay, so now I have my 18 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2, and just continue to pull through 2 for the rest of the row, and then we will change back to the white. Okay, so I'm at my last 2 stitches, so now I'm just picking up the white here and pulling through to finish off. And so now we have row 4 done. If you're having trouble counting your rows, if you just turn it over on its side, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we need to get ready for row 5, and then again that's going to be what we've been doing. We're going to pull up loops until we have 17 on our hook, and we're just going to keep going. I will let you know how many rows, and then I will meet you back. Okay, so I just finished up row 16 and I'm back to my white here. So we are almost done this. It's like a wedge or a triangle here, our first one. So what we're going to do is we're going to do what we've been doing. So I'm just going in that first bar there, pulling up a loop and going across here. So this is row 17. So I have 5 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2, all the way across. Okay, so now I'm at row 18. So just keep pulling up my loops. So now I'm going to have 4 loops on my hook here for row 18, pulling those off. And now I'm going to switch back. So now we're at row 19, and I'm with my blue. So now I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So I'm at row 20. So we're just going to go in that 1 bar left, pull up a loop. Now I'm going to grab my white and pull through the remaining 2. So now we have that first wedge done. Okay, so now we're actually going to be starting the repeat. So this first wedge is the setup, and the rest of the pattern will be, we're going to repeat rows 1 through 20, but I'll show you how we're going to work off of this first wedge here. Okay, so now we are going to be pulling up loops all the way down the side, and we're going to pull up 21 loops like we had in the beginning here. And how we're going to do that is, let me get another hook here to kind of show you. So sometimes when people are doing these short rows, they're going to have you work off these ends here. But I'm not going to be doing that. I find that when you do that, it sometimes creates like holes. Now, if you want the holes as a design element, that's fine, but I don't want to do that. So we're actually going to be working in this bar here. So it might be kind of tricky with this yarn. So here is the first one we're going to pull up right here. We're going to work in this one and this one here is where we're going to be working. So let's show that. So again, I'm using my white. So I'm going to go in this bar here, pulling up a loop. So now I have 2 loops in my hook. I'm going to go in this one here, pull up a loop. So this way there are no holes. I'm going in this one. So you're just going down the wedge. So think of it as each row. So these 2 rows are next, then these 2, these 2, these 2. Okay, so we have 2 more white sections to go. So here, and then this bar right there. So we should, whoops, come on, let's work that stitch. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so we should have 20 loops. Yes, so we have 20. So now we need to work in this circle of single crochet that we worked. So we are going to go into the next single crochet, what is right here, and pull up a loop. So now we have 21 loops on our hook, just like we did for row 1. So this is row 1 of our repeat, and now you just work off the loops just like we normally do, pulling through 2 all the way across. And then row 1 of our repeat is complete. Okay, so I've pulled off my loops there. So now we're going to work row 2, and that is just going to be a repeat of here. So rows 2 through 20 are going to be the same as we did for the first wedge, and then then your second wedge will be done, and then wedges 3 through 6, because we're going to make a total of 6 wedges. You're just going to keep going around, and as you start a new wedge, you're going to go into the next single crochet around. So I'm going to keep going, working my wedges here, and I will meet you back. Okay, so here we go. I've got all 6 wedges done here. So now you're probably wondering how we are going to attach this, because we can't have this big gaping hole there. So what we're going to do is you need to cut your main color. So this is a little bit long, but just want to make sure you have enough. And we actually do have to sew. I tried a couple of versions of not sewing and it just doesn't look right. So we have to, if any of you have been on my channel a while, you know I do not like sewing very much, but sometimes you need to do it. Okay, so I've threaded my yarn needle, and what we're going to do is we're going to start at the top here, and then we're going to work our way down to the center. So I am going to first attach these ends here. So I'm going to, and you want to have your project right side facing for this. I know it seems counterintuitive, but it actually works better when it's right side facing. So we have it right side facing. I'm just going to poke my yarn needle through that first stitch there to start closing that up. And I'm actually going to go through again through this top here just to kind of clean it up a little bit. So there's no real exact science when you're first starting this out. You just want to try to get it as neat and tidy as you can. And I think that's going to be okay. Alright, so let's keep going here. So let me get my yarn this way. Alright, so now we have the right side facing. Let me get this tail out of the way. Probably feels like a big fiddly hot mess here. So now we're ready to start sewing. So it might seem like it's not going to work because it doesn't lay completely flush, but it will. Trust the process. We're going to be working pointing down like that, and we're going to be working in the bars. So we're not going to be working on the seam. We're going to be working on each bar. So this side is where we worked that long 21 loops on our hook. So we're still going to work on those same bars, but we're also going to be working in the bars on this side here. And it just gives it a more seamless look. So I'm going to take my yarn needle, I'm going to insert my hook in that first bar. I'm pointing it down. And then I'm going to insert my heat needle in that first bar if we were stitching down. And just pulling that closed. And so I'm just going to the next bar, inserting my needle, and then going to that next one. And we're just going to do that all the way down. So it's kind of like this, just back and forth. And it gives an almost invisible seam. So I'm going in that next bar. So I'm just going to go all the way down to complete this, and I will meet you back. Okay, so here you can see everything has been sewn and it looks pretty similar to the others. And then I'm just going to take this tail and just poke it through like in that center. And there we go. So part of our hot pad is done, so we're going to work on the other part. Okay, so we have finished one part of our hot pad here. So I want this to be double-sided, so we are going to make another one of these, but I'm just going to do it in the white. So I'm not adding the stripes because that's going to be the underside. So you're going to just repeat the directions for the striped one, but we're not changing any colors. So you're going to make your 6 wedges, and you're going to then attach them how we did before, and then we're going to attach both sides together and then add an edging as well. Yeah, we're going to attach both sides and add the edging at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead with my white, and I will go make another one of these with the white, and then I will meet you back. Okay, so here we go. I finished the back side of my hot pad here. So it's just like the striped version, except I just used the one color. So now we're going to attach both of these, and I'm going to show you one that I already made here. So here we go. I've already made this one. So here is the back side of my hot pad, and then here is the front. Now this edging, I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'm going to change it up. So if you want to do this edging, what I did, it's just single crochet, chain one, single crochet all the way around. But I'm not going to do that with this one here. I think I'm going to like this a little bit better. So what you want to do is, this obviously is the wrong side, and you're going to just match up the two together here. And as you can see here, I didn't weave in these ends. Now I did make sure they were secured because like this center here, I just gave it a tug and then I just wove it in a tiny bit just so it's nice and secure. I did the same thing with the others, but it's kind of nice having the ends inside because it actually gives it a little bit more cushion so that you know, you really don't have to worry about heat transfer and stuff with this. So what I love about Tunisian for hot pads is it just works really, really well. Especially when you have it doubled up like this, it really makes it good. It truly is a hot pad. You don't have to worry about damaging a surface or anything like that. All right, so what we're gonna do is you're gonna have your wrong sides touching, and you're just going to match up a corner here. And I'm going to take my hook and insert my hook into the top of that corner, and the same on the other one. I have my yarn. I'm going to use my white, and I'm just going to attach my yarn, and then I'm going to chain one. Okay, so we're going to be working a reverse single crochet. So I'm just going in the opposite direction, also called crab stitch, on both thicknesses, pulling up a loop and just working that single crochet. So just going in the next stitch, making sure we go through both thicknesses and working that stitch. And I can also provide a link that goes over this stitch in more detail if you're struggling a little bit, and it is a little bit fiddly, but once you get going with it, I find it's not too bad. Just a good word of advice with this one is just watch your tension, make sure your tension's nice and even, and just take your time. It is a little bit of a slower stitch, but I just find it really makes a nice edging, so that's why I decided to do it. Now this is not a good stitch if, let's say, you wanted to edge a hat. It doesn't have a lot of give, so if you wanted to have like a ribbing type effect, this is not a good stitch for that. But we don't want that for this because it's a hot pad, so it is a really good stitch for that. So I'm going to keep going, working my crab stitch or reverse single crochet, and I will meet you back. Okay, so I have finished my border here. So when you're done, you're obviously going to need to cut your yarn. And then I always, with finishing, I'll just take my yarn needle, poke it through there, and I'll probably even see that little nub as I'll take that tail and just kind of pull that down as well, just to kind of neaten up that edging there. And then of course you will need to block this a little bit just to get it a little bit more flat, but it's really a nice dense hot pad. So really would be nice to protect a delicate surface. And again, if you'd prefer, here's the other one. I did block this one. You could make the different edging of the single crochet, chain one, single crochet. Or you could just do a plain single crochet as well. I mean, you can certainly play around. But I hope you enjoyed this project. And if you did, please like and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching.